So we are watching and learning from our producers in the courtroom what's going on in there. We're going to continue to keep a rolling update for you on the right-hand side of your screen here in the trial of former President Trump, who also faces being held in contempt of court by the judge. Decisions being made by that as well over accusations that he violated the gag order in this case. A post on Trump's Truth Social today reads, quote, "We request that Judge Merchan immediately lift the gag order so that President Trump is able to freely state his views, feelings, and policies. He is asking for his constitutional right to free speech." Prosecutors say that they have found a total of 14 gag order violations, including 4 new ones this week that you see on your screen, and they are going to present to the judge on that they presented to the judge on Thursday. You can read some of these. The jury was picked so fast, 95% Democrats. David, with regard to David Pecker, has been very nice. He's a nice guy. They say that's a violation. Michael Cohen's a convicted liar. He's got no credibility whatsoever. That one came on Tuesday. And you can see the other one also about Cohen. So with that, we bring in Mark Levin, host of Life, Liberty, and Levin. Mark, always good to have you with us. I want to get your thoughts in general, but let's just start there. Do you think these are gag order violations?
You know, Martha, I look at this case and I'm so disgusted by the whole damn thing. We had a fraud case that didn't require fraud. Now we have a criminal case that doesn't require crime. The New York bar should be ashamed of itself. The judges are a disgrace. This prosecutor, Bragg, is a joke. Let me be very clear about this. Of course, there should be no gag order. Donald Trump didn't threaten anybody with violence. This case is a national case. He's running for president of the United States. Everybody else can talk about him. Others have talked about this. It's obvious. The problem in this case is the judge. Let me explain to the American people something. You have state law and you have federal law. Under state law, everything these people are testifying to might be true. The problem is the statute expired years ago. The prosecution waited to bring their case. They decided to bring it right in front of the election because they want to influence the election. The feds looked at it from a campaign perspective. The FEC said nothing. The U.S. Attorney's Office said nothing. But Alvin Bragg, with the help of the judge, writes a 34-count indictment, and everybody's sitting around saying, what's the crime? Now, let me explain a couple of things here, Martha. Number one, you cannot possibly have due process rights and effective representation of counsel, the Fifth and Sixth Amendment under our Bill of Rights, if you don't know what you're charged with. The judge says basically there's 4 potential crimes here. No, you don't charge somebody with 4 potential crimes. They don't know what to object to. They don't know what kind of motions to prepare. They don't know what kind of case. So it's whack-a-mole. They're in there dealing with Pecker. They're in there dealing with Graff. They're in there dealing with whatever's being thrown at them. That's not, when you put somebody on trial and you're trying to take their freedom away, you're trying to destroy them and put them in prison, you got to do a little better than that. So what's going on here is what we lawyers call collateral evidence. Collateral evidence is information that's coming into the court that has nothing to do with the case.
Right.
Nothing. Who cares about the National Enquirer? Who cares about Stormy Daniels? Who cares about any of this? Now, here's the key point. You just had the highest court in New York overturn the Weinstein case. What did they say? Court, you let in all this stuff that's collateral evidence that prejudiced the case. We're throwing the case out. The highest court in New York 48 hours ago said essentially what's going on in this courtroom is unconstitutional. One other thing. They keep talking about a federal crime on the federal front. Donald Trump was never charged with a federal violation of the Campaign Acts. He was never convicted of a federal violation of the Campaign Acts. So Alvin Bragg builds this whole case because Alvin Bragg decides on his own that Donald Trump violated the federal campaign law.
He extrapolated a state law and said that it represented a violation of campaign law for the payments that exceed what a person is allowed to spend as an individual on a campaign. But I think I just want to point out one thing. We just watched most of the team walk out. Ronna Graff is done after 30 minutes. She's his former executive assistant. We're still waiting to see what they wanted to establish with her. But with regard to the way that the president is being treated in there, look at this poll. This is by CNN with regard to the treatment of the president. And you think about the fact that they're off on Monday, Mark, for no disclosed reason. The president asked if he could go to his son's graduation. He said, we'll get back to you on that. We had the dentist appointment. But you see these numbers, and this is a CNN poll, that he's being treated more leniently than other defendants would be, 34%, more harshly, 34%. Your thoughts on how they're handling this with regard to a former president?
But this is the point. This is a political show trial. We're polling it. This isn't a criminal trial. This is a disgrace. This judge is a disaster and a complete disgrace. He obviously should have recused himself. His daughter's raising money on the case, for God's sakes. And he gave money to Biden and others. I don't care if he gave a penny or $10 or $1,000. It's what's in his head that matters. His rulings are bizarre. His rulings are over the top. Let me tell you something, Martha. Let me cut to the chase. This is a dead case walking. It'll be appealed. Whatever they try and get him on, if they get him on something, it will be reversed. The problem is the timing. This is all about timing. This judge is playing to the election. This prosecutor is playing to the election. They know exactly what they're doing in that respect. Any serious lawyer, or even unserious lawyer, maybe some law student who took 6 months worth of law, knows that this is a farce, except, of course, if they're being paid by CNN and MSNBC. I want to make a very important point here. I was talking about collateral evidence, all this stuff coming in. The reason why you're not free to use it is because it's not probative. It doesn't matter what the National Enquirer guy does. That doesn't affect some federal campaign law that involves, theoretically, Donald Trump. It doesn't matter what Stormy Daniels has to say. None of this matters. And this case, if they get him on one of 34 charges, piling on the charges, it will be reversed, it will be overturned, but it could be too late in terms of the election. This is a disgrace, honest to God. Honest to God. Your legal experts, my friends, they're exactly right about everything they're saying, but I'm trying to convey to the American people, you have state law, you have federal law. There's been no charges on federal law. There's been no convictions on federal law. The state law lapsed. They waited years. They're trying to revive it by bringing in a federal law where the feds wouldn't even take up the case. Now, I'm a judge. That case comes before me, and I say, Mr. Bragg,
what were you thinking?
What exactly are you doing here?
Yeah.
You're out. You're done. You're gone. Instead of this Mickey Mouse crap.
We will see if there is even a conviction in this case. That's the job of the jury right now. And they are hearing a lot of stuff that doesn't feel all that relevant. I know the prosecution is going to say they were building up their case and setting the groundwork for this, but they've got a lot of things that they're going to have to piece together for this jury. Mark, always good to see you. Thank you very much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.